So guys, many of you asked, well, not many of you, for a more devastating ankle lock. So I had it pretty good. Not bad. I'm about to go inverted. Try to rip it off. But Enrique actually secretly tapped on my butt before, but you know, he could argue to the ref it was not on. This is pretty good. Some might say devastating, but not devastating enough. So, pow pow!
Tap, tap, tap.
Now you tap, huh? So guys, there you have it. Super devastating ankle lock. Just make sure you wear all black if you're gonna do this. I'm pretty sure he will tap on this and he will be completely devastated. I don't think he's gonna fake or limp back into the match. All right, guys, anyways, welcome. Boom. So guys, welcome to episode 38 of the daily antivirus edition of Roll with the Fox. How's that ankle?
Devastating.
We should have brought some ketchup too. There's a lot of, I don't know where you guys are located, there's some obscure channel up here in Northeast. I don't even know what it is. On Sundays they have Kung Fu Theater. Whole afternoon. I'm watching some of this stuff, but man, the blood, the fake blood is really, really fake looking. I think we could have done a better job with the ketchup. So today, guys, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do some north-south attacks. All right, it's usually I will set up my attacks from top across side, and we have gone over that in one of the episodes. I know it's totally random, but it just popped in my head. Somebody asked, I believe on YouTube, to show sort of strategies and how do you deal with a bigger, stronger opponent. We went over that in one of the episodes, guys. The basic theory is move. But, you know, again, the episodes are labeled and so forth. Piotr, he's my go-to guy. He not, like literally within 30 seconds, he'll probably have a link with the exact specific timeline in that YouTube video. So anyways, we go back to north-south attacks. So guys, as you're on top of cross side, right? So Enrique has good defenses, and every once in a while I need to move north-south, whether I'm trying to attack the far side arm, whether I'm trying to attack the closer arm into this arm lock. But sometimes as you're changing from top of cross side to north-south, your opponent is not giving you, he's dropping things. So it's good to have a few attacks from north-south. All right? So one of the ones that's very obvious is a Camorra. All right? So anytime I'm north-south and I'm trying to get something going, if you're going to Camorra somebody, so right now it'd be a lot of power. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring our hand up. So I tuck it palm up. All right? So when I'm here, there's not a lot of power, but I bring my hand, turn so they can see. So I bring my hand from and tuck it under his armpit. Now, once it's there, guys, I drive forward. This will isolate the arm. Now, for Camorra, generally speaking, do not bring up the right leg in this case. You can bring up the left leg. Me personally, but if I do bring it up, I want to keep my inner thigh close. Me personally, I like to just keep both legs down, both shins down. That's my personal preference, and I will show you why. And from here, guys, we just pull, and then you should have stretched. So let's look at it again, guys. Let's look at it from this angle. So I'm going north-south, and Enrique's not giving me a whole lot. I'm a big fan of pinning his right arm right now. And now, you don't kind of go like this, try to bring it up. It's too loose. So what you can do is bring your hand in and start driving. It's a tremendous amount of pressure. You will see Enrique's face in a few minutes, how that goes down. I personally like both shins down. It's up to you. I'm gonna pull out, and take. So let's turn the other way so they can see your face. So, again guys, on north-south, guys, it's very important for you to alternate between the weight on his shoulders and his hips, because sometimes if you don't put enough weight on the shoulders, he's going to try to frame out. If you don't put some weight on on his hips, he's going to try to bring. Yeah, Enrique's flexible enough that now this is a problem. So what I'll need to do is drive forward to put him back down. All right. So now I'm going north south. Pin his arm. Now. Can they see Enrique's face, or is he just bye-bye?
They could kind of see his face.
All right. So my hand goes from being on the floor to going into his armpit, and then I drop. Can they see the pressure? Both shin in, and now I have a strong Camorra. Could they see the pain in his face?
They saw some of the pain.
So guys, the pain is from pressure. You know, it doesn't matter, you know, whatever weight you are, that's the weight you are. You gotta figure out how to generate the maximum amount of pressure for the weight that you are, all right? So when you're north-south, my job is to basically, as I'm moving from side to side, from top of one side, side control, north-south, other side. As I move between those sides, I'm looking for isolation. I'm looking for him to give me something, whether it be arm or his head. All right? So.
Cosmo says, no, because...
What's up, Cosmo? How you doing? I miss you guys.
He says, no, because Fox's leg was in the way. One more time, please.
All right, Cosmo goes on your list. Is he serious? Because I'll do it.
He'll probably say yeah just to see Enrique's face.
So, let's look at it again. I'm going to switch, don't worry. Guys, when you apply that pressure, one of the other things, can somebody tell me what happens? So let's do it again. I'm not going to try to crush you too much. So I'm going north-south, and I'm looking for an isolation, which I have right now. It's not the greatest. You know, I could switch into Americana, which I can do too, from north-south, and because I have this will work too. But once I have something, if I have something, I don't want to switch unless he takes it away from me. So, can somebody tell me what the pressure does to Enrique? Besides pain.
Waiting for the replies to come in. There are a few check-ins. We have check-ins from Utah, Trinidad, Israel, Japan, Italy, Taiwan, Vernon, Venezuela, California, Tennessee.
How's Luca doing in Antarctica? I know it's probably not the warmest month in I think he was Serbia, right?
Yes.
But I'm sure it's a lot colder in Antarctica.
So, for your question, Kevin Nilo on Facebook says, makes him turn on his side, back exposure. On YouTube, Tom Kelly and AG26Fly says to force him to move. Michael Frazee says keeps him from escaping his arm. Caleb Throop says pins his hips and makes him turn. And Manny Nieves says it exposes the arm and causes him to turn away from you.
Yes, there's some truth to pretty much all the answers. What I'm really looking for is for his head to come up. All right? When his head comes up, guys, even if I fail, and this is the reason why I keep both my shins down. Why are you looking concerned? Guys, there's a thing called scissor choke. It's used to be a bit of a thought of as a kind of a brutish or not technical or goonish kind of submission. But it works. It works. But you have to set it up properly, all right? Now, if you doubt why it works, look up, I think Randy Couture's third wife fought MMA, and she got put out with the scissor choke. The problem was the ref, she's out cold, like cold, and the ref is just running like literally for 30 seconds, he's running around, she's cold. I'm screaming at the TV, she's out. But long story short, she got put out with a scissor choke. She was out quite a long time. So even though it's kind of like, it's very simple. Basically, you squeeze, don't forget the Suzanne Summers squeeze, guys, it's the same squeeze. You basically squeeze his neck between your inner thighs. So anytime when I'm there and the guy decides to turn me, I will, or decides to start to move, I will just fall and squeeze my thighs. So again, it's not sort of the most beautiful technique, but it's very effective. So as I'm bringing him up, I just fall and squeeze. Very simple. Some people might say it's, yeah, I think the reason why a lot of jiu-jitsu guys don't, or maybe in the old days didn't like it, is two. One is they couldn't find the right placement where their thighs should be, number one. And second reason was, so they couldn't put their thighs, it sort of, if you put it in the wrong place, it just mangles the guy's head. So mangles his jaw. And the reality is, guys, if you're mangling somebody in tournament and fight, by all means, mangle away. But if you sort of train it with your friends, you want it to be a clean choke. So first, before you start applying this stuff, learn where to place your thighs, and that's where that head up becomes critical. When his head comes up, it's critical that the head is in that spot, and then you can squeeze your thighs and basically cause a constriction. Very clean, very clean. And the second one is, it's so simple that sometimes jiu-jitsu people overcomplicate things, trying to come up with, okay, how many, can I figure out 12 different moves and tie his belt around his one leg and then tie his lapel around the other leg and, you know, blind him with my own belt, and I grip here, then I change here. This one is just you fall and squeeze, that's it. Assuming you can find the spot to squeeze with your inner thighs. So that's why I think in the older days it had kind of like, because anybody could do it, like people, the reality is somebody had no training in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu would actually do it just out of, you know, oh, head is here, let me squeeze. And usually if people tuck their head in, yeah, it becomes quite brutal. If somebody has a very good squeeze, your head will feel like a coconut that's about to explode. If I'm in training, I will tap on it. If I'm training or like if it's going hard, I'm not tapping on that. I may have a headache the next day, but I'm not tapping. But if you go around the neck, guys, it's very clean. All right, so let's look at it one more time. So we're going north-south. I'm trying to pin his arm at pressure. His head comes up. As I'm going for the grip, he tries to turn me. Yes, let's go with that. Very nice. Very nice. All right. So that's kind of a scissor choke / Kimura combination. I'd encourage you guys strongly, if you're gonna, I know the scissor choke is very simple, but even simple techniques, you know, have a lot of intricacies to it. Look at, for example, Hodger's game. Hodger finished one world championship in his division and in absolute, everybody with the same choke. It was a cross-collar choke. Everybody knows cross-collar choke. Could you finish, I forget, it was like 5 in his division and 7 in absolute. Could you finish 10, 12 elite black belts with the same technique? If you're a blue belt, could you finish 12 of your friends, blue belts, with the same technique? Especially now they know after the third one, they pretty much, oh crap, I think that's what's gonna happen. Yeah, the answer is probably not, or very highly probably not. And he did it because he has such great understanding of little details that are extremely important in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. The devil is in the details, guys, in almost anything. It's always easy to just, it's good enough. If I'm bowling, guys, good enough is good enough for me because I don't bowl. I think the last time I bowled was probably 8 years ago. I just throw the ball. I like to throw the ball. I don't care. But anything I care about is should not be good enough, should be excellent. You should aim for it. You will not achieve excellence right away, guys. But excellence is what I strive for. Perfection. Sometimes guys, if I'm drilling something or, I'm in somebody else's class and they decide to train this, I will train it. I have really good arm locks. If the guy decides to drill arm locks, I don't know, crap, man, I got this down, I want to learn something. Man, I'm going to try to work to make my arm locks even better. And to this day, guys, I've come up with some recent sort of tweaks to my arm locks, probably the last 6 months, that are extremely effective. But if I sort of stop, it's like, okay, my arm lock is good enough. So apply that concept, guys, to everything you do in life that you care about. And I assume you guys care about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Although, guys, we're getting messages, it's pretty cool, we're getting messages from people, and I appreciate that don't train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but somehow they enjoy watching this, or maybe they're watching you getting beat up. So let's go on to the next technique. All right?
We have a few questions.
Oh, we have questions.
Yes.
Of course. It's interactive,
So Adolfo Ferranda asked a similar question. GM Baseball asked, so where should the thighs be for the squeeze? He says, sorry, Enrique.
Right here on his neck. It's very hard. It's hard to duplicate that. You're gonna have to play around with it. You'll know right away. I know I have it. So basically, roughly this part of my inner thigh, that's where his carotids are. And then as I basically I just straighten out. It's a very gentle choke, guys. When you get it, don't rush. Now you got it. So you have to play with it a little bit. Guys, again, we're doing this every day, and I'm committed, unless I break, to do this till things start to normalize. But there may be, I don't know if there's a way for you to flag or something the episodes that you're most interested in, that you want to go back to once things open up. And so there's certain things you learn it visually. You could just watch it. Guys, I've seen certain things and I didn't realize how, and then I can do it. And I may not have drilled it or may not have drilled it enough, but somehow it penetrates your mind and penetrates your body. So maybe flag those episodes that you want to go back to. And guys, I'm always available for questions. Just understand, if you send me a message or preferably ask on the post, that's the best way to get your question answered. I will be available afterwards as well, and once we're done, maybe a little bit more, but once we're done, I'm still going to do the Roll with the Fox. The reason it's 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time is because we were doing monthly for 9 months. That was the time because it works at East Coast. It's 10:30 a.m. on a Friday. It's okay, a lot of people are at work, but some of them can sneak away or they can watch it later. People on the West Coast, it's early in the morning, but people on the West Coast tend to rise earlier. You have people, in Asia, it's evening time. It's evening time. The same day in Austria. So it sort of seems to work. So that we're going to go back to the monthly, so you can ask any follow-up questions on some of this stuff down the road on the monthly if it does work.
And on Facebook, Valerie says, hello, Mr. Fox from Russia. Please tell me, what are you doing to make the Camorra if your opponent has a strong grip?
Okay, yeah, that's a good question. By the way, tell Sasha, there's Google Translate. He always says he doesn't know how to speak English. I know. Because in this camp in Czech, I had to explain it, the technique in English to Thomas Buschkamp, who speaks English, who then explained it in German to his student Alex, who also speaks Russian, and who explained it to Sasha. And by the time I went to Sasha, the word was da. So whatever I explained for 5 minutes, somehow I got lost. So we need to work at our Google Translate. Oh, 10 minutes left. All right, let's hurry up. All right, so I set it up differently. Let me set it up the same way. So he has a really strong grip, okay? What I'll do is pull out. I want to pull to my right. So if you pull up, it's going to be very hard to break the grip. So what I'll do is I lean into him. My forearm is on his ribs. So he will feel the pain. I just pull, and then I go over. Don't forget, I'm not just pushing, but I'm also pulling. This is the movement, okay? Now, sometimes I realize I cannot rip it no matter what I'm doing. Enrique just reinforces grip. When that happens, I have to change directions. I don't want to give up on it altogether because it's a really good grip. But I realize, okay, I'm not going to be able to pull his grip. All right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pop up. Guys, understand, when we're doing arm lock, we don't pop up, we slide in, right? On this one, we pop up. If you don't understand what I'm talking about, go to the arm lock episode. So as I will pull, and his defense is, his grip and his body structure is defending this movement. So let go of it. He's defending this movement. So when he's holding on too tight, I'll drive up, I'll put my weight in my forearm, and I just pop up and change the direction. Suddenly it goes. Okay? Let's look at it from the other side. Moving extra slow today. So, he has a really strong grip. Really strong. Enrique's pretty strong, actually. So, I'm pulling. I want to, let go off for a second. I want to pull out this way. Okay? And then change the direction. But you could tell sometimes you have a really, really strong grip. So, my left forearm is on his ribs. I just drive forward. That's where my weight is on. I pop up and change the direction. Usually, even if against a very, very strong guy, this will fly. This arm will fly. And this is the grip because I'm very perpendicular. I have a good angle. Not 100%, but almost there. Probably 85 degrees. This, I will grip. This is the way I'm going to grip. All right? This is probably a very strong grip. Does that answer your question?
And on YouTube, AGU26Fly says, just got the Fluid book, totally goat stuff. Thank you, Professor Fox.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
And Just Paranormal on YouTube says, your videos with Firas Zahabi have changed my guillotine and triangle game. Thank you so much for all the help.
I appreciate that, guys.
And the question we have on Facebook is, actually we'll go back to this one because this question is relevant. 10 Us says, the left heel under his neck to apply more pressure. Would it work, Fox? For what you just did.
Are you talking about the scissor choke, or are you talking about the Camorra or the arm lock?
I think the Camorra into the arm lock. To break his grip.
Nah, that's the leg's gonna do nothing. If his grip is too strong, I'll make sure he brings up his head, and I'll go into the scissor choke, or pop up and change. I'll do one or the other. The leg's not gonna help break the grip.
And Dave Jocelyn asked a similar question as Piotr on Facebook. Says, talking about balancing control between opponent's hips and shoulders, I've got the question regarding the north-south choke. When you attack the north-south, how do you stop them from lifting their hips and reaching you with their legs? I find it takes me quite a long setup and good grip, and it gives them a big window for their escape.
That's an excellent question. Actually, that's guys. My north-south choke is a little different from from other people. I don't connect my hands. All right, I personally prefer, when I'm on top of cross side, it's such a dominant position, I personally prefer to control them to make sure they stay where they are. And it's just as effective as if you connect your hands. Because the choke is not from the connection, the choke is from the shoulder forward. You know, we talk a lot about that in the guillotine. So, so when I go north-south, right, and this time, you know, as I'm going over, Enrique tries to come out the other side. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sink my hip and wrap his head. What I'm now concerned about is most about anything is to make sure I don't lose control. The other thing is, guys, I don't want to get south-north choked. If you don't know what it is, I'm pretty sure it's on our channel. It is, right, Mike?
Yes.
Yeah, I for lack of better word, I didn't know what to name it. But, so, as I'm doing this, I want to make sure his head is turned away, and I'm controlling his arm. Can you bring up your legs? Oh. All right, I gotta let blood go back into Enrique's head. We don't want a replay of episode 19. I will remember that one. I don't remember anything else, which episodes they are, so, except for that one. So, I'm gonna lighten up with the grip. See if you can bring up your legs. You good now? Yeah. So. Guys, I'm not even squeezing. But by having my, I apply this advice, guys, it's key that you figure out how to choke with your shoulder, okay? I use this in the guillotine, and I use this in the north-south choke. You have to figure out how to use your shoulder to cause the choke. If you're in my class in person, you get to feel it. If you're in my seminar, you get to feel it. In this instance, you have to depend on watching it and then playing around with it, okay? It's a very simple concept that most people know. They couldn't see you tap. So, when you're on top of side control, you can choke the guy with your shoulder. Von Flue is the same thing. One-handed guillotine is the same thing. North-south choke is the same thing. I'm using my shoulder primarily to affect the choke, okay? If you, 2 minutes, oh man. All right, I lost my train of thought. Mike gave me the rabbit ears and I lost. Shoulder forward. So guys, it's applicable. When we learn Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, we learn usually in the way of sequences, okay? Moves. I usually like to teach sequences because it also helps people not just be able to perform a specific submission or specific sweep, but also how do you get there? And every time you get there, you get a slightly different look, so that the ability to sort of take advantage of those transitions is a very important skill that you need to learn, especially as you progress through jiu-jitsu. So I usually teach in sequences, but sometimes and then I think I actually explained that concept a little bit in the book. Again, it's got a lot of pictures because I don't like to write, guys, so it's not like it's a war and peace. But sometimes it's kind of good to sort of take a different approach to things. What is the commonality between a lot of different positions, different submissions, different from different attacks? What is the commonality? So this is arm and guillotine, Von Flue, north-south choke, I do it differently from, I don't think anybody else does it. I've never seen it, but I'm sure somebody out there in the world does it. And top of cross side. It's that shoulder forward, and that's usually enough. And it leaves my other hand free to basically control him on the bottom. All right?
And on Facebook, Elatsapir asked, what do you do if he turns to his back during the Camorra?
Scissor choke. Guys, we're running out of time. Let's have one or two more quick questions. I actually had two other things to go over, but maybe we pick it up tomorrow on this topic because I think I thought I was going to go through all of them, but somehow I didn't.
He followed up with, I love it when you're disappointed when the time is up. It shows your true love for BJJ and teaching. So inspiring.
Thank you. I do like BJJ. I need to get a bumper sticker like that. I heart BJJ.
And Vincent MMA, Vincent MMA Life says, Coach, you changed my game so much for the better. I've got a lot of respect for you and Enrique. It would be an honor to train under you one day. And Just Paranormal says, I agree with Vincent on that one.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it. Like I said, I think my game is not necessarily applicable to everybody because there's some guys, if you're a big guy, and I try to make my guys to be even the big guys, be very technical. You'd be amazed how some of these guys can move like cats, and I really appreciate it. But it's maybe not everybody's cup of tea, but I think if you decide that you want to have my style of game, and if I can do it, anybody else can. So I really appreciate it, guys, and I do hope that pretty much I meet everybody that's been tuning in person at some point, whether it's at my school or whether it's at some camp or seminar or whatever. I do hope that we can make this happen at some point down the road, guys.
And one last question
Yes.
from Vincent MMA Life. It says, Coach, when someone holds their hands in a gable grip, would you still break the grip the same way?
When he's defending the Kimura?
Yes.
Okay. You want to turn this way so they can see your hands. I wouldn't. Yeah, because what he's doing is see how before I wanted to be closer to his hips. So this is already, things are changing right now. I would probably still go and change into back attack because he's changed dramatically. So if I get a Camorra grip and he lock up, if that's happening, his head is down, so I'm not gonna get. He's already sort of escaping, and I think his next move should be kind of to rotate to his left. So rotate up into turtle and then try to, go ahead, do your thing. So yeah, go ahead. No, do something better. I know you could. I have to start to attack the back. I have to transition. So rather than get to a point where there's some form of scramble, if I feel the guy lock it up like this, I will bring up his elbow. I will lay down parallel with him. And now, depending how he reacts, I will either hit him with an arm lock or I'm going to hunt for another arm lock, or he picks up his head, back triangle. So it depends how he reacts. So there's a couple of things, but I would transition into the back take and then hit him with an attack depending on his defense to the back take.
Gabby says, poor Enrique. And 10 SRA says, Fox, your teaching may inspire people from other countries to learn English.
I may need to learn some other languages, guys. I could tell you this. Don't even joke on that, because Lukash is going to enjoy that. Guys, I can tell you this. If I have a glass or two of wine or a glass or two of beer, whatever country I'm in, I may speak gibberish, but my pronunciation is really good. So I hope to demonstrate that to you one day. Until then, guys, tune in tomorrow for episode 39. 39. No. All right, guys. Stay well, stay safe, and be considerate, okay? Take care of others, guys. We'll see you tomorrow.